Alright guys, welcome back. So today we've got a different kind of project. We're going to be clearing out this middle section of my driveway to make a pond for that gar we caught. So this is what it's looking like right now. It's basically a jungle. This thing was completely cleared about 1.5 years ago, and now it has grown up to this. So we're going to be taking down that tree. We're going to be clearing up all the way up from that pole over, and eventually be digging that pond out. I don't know when we're going to be able to get the equipment, but for right now, we're just going to work on clearing it. Now, I will say this was a lot of work. I started out with my little sickle thing and started cutting this stuff. A lot of it is dog fennel and goldenrod, so it's really thick stuff that grows quick, but it doesn't cut too hard. It's fairly easy to cut down, and it dries out pretty quick, so it shouldn't be too long before we can burn it. But the plan is going to be chop everything down, pile it up in the middle, burn it, and then we'll have a nice cleared out spot that we can dig the pond in. It may not look sunny, but it was hot. So this is what it looks like after just going with a sickle. At this point, I have a little handheld, like electric battery-powered chainsaw that I was going to use. It's not very big, but it should be perfect for cutting down these smaller little trees. That, however, I am very concerned about, so I have to knock it down this way. There's power lines behind it. My house is on the side of it, so got to make sure it falls this way. But we're going to go ahead and get the chainsaw out here, try and beat the rainstorm that's coming. Well, we didn't beat the rainstorm that was coming. We were able to cut down a couple of the trees, but as you can see, there's still the big one to the right, and then there's that smaller one also to the right. But we were able to cut all the ones to the left. Now, the rainstorm finally passed about an hour later, and I went back out with the sickle, cut some more stuff down. I was clearing around this tree so I could get the chainsaw back out here, and basically just did my best to cut down all of it that I could. Now, I thought it would be a funny bit to try and cut it like a samurai, and my wife was videoing it, and then this happened. I learned that wet leather gloves and a slippery handle don't mix well, and won't be trying that again. But I went back to cutting like a normal person, and then ended up clearing out pretty much everything up to this tree. Now at this point, it was only about 6 o'clock in the evening, but little did I know this would keep me up till about 9:30, just so I could keep working on this stupid tree. Now let me tell you, when I saw this tree, I was like, oh, this is going to be easy because the outer inch was like paper. I mean, I sat there and hit it with a machete twice and cut about an inch through it and was taking out chunks. So I was like, okay, this thing's completely dead. It's going to fall over, no problem. Well, the inside core was completely rock solid. Like, I'm talking like hard as a rock. When I was hitting it with the machete, it was sounding like a baseball bat hitting a metal pole. I mean, it was hard in the middle. And so that led to a very long, tedious battle with this tree. Now, I could only have this tree fall in about a 70-degree angle in this direction. If it fell off to any of the other sides, it would either hit the house, the fence, power lines, or my wife, which was also next to the fence, so that's still a fence. But yeah, I had to make sure it fell forwards that way, and yeah, I thought that maybe giving it a little bit of a shake would help. The top of the tree kept shaking. I didn't have enough leverage. I even tried with ropes and stuff like that to pull it down. It just was not working. So eventually I had to resort to drastic measures. So now I'm going to cut into the actual video audio instead of voiceover. I apologize for any background noise.
I've been after this stupid tree for like 2.5 hours now. Saw it didn't work. Chainsaw's dead. But I ain't never seen a problem you couldn't fix with a gun. Don't try this at home. This is incredibly stupid. I will be shooting at a downward angle. There is nothing in the backdrop that can be hurt. Just for clarification. And when gun no work, use bigger gun.
Now don't worry, I did this in a safe direction and I made sure my barrel wasn't touching the wood. That way I wouldn't have to worry about a barrel exploding or anything. But the thing is, I started to hear it crack, so I stepped away, took my headphones off, and tried to push it along to help it. Problem is, it started to fall over and it started to lean, but then it got caught because the chainsaw cut was so shallow, so it ended up getting stuck. So I decided, you know, I've got to weaken that spot that it's touching, and then I should be able to push it all the way over. Well, here's where my next plan came in.
Right, I'm tired of dealing with this crap, so I lit it on fire. The problem is it started to crack after I shot it, but then it got caught. So I see the weak spot and I'm trying to burn it out. That way it's weak, and then I can just smack it a couple times, break the embers up, and then push it over. That's the plan.
Now, as you can see, the tree has already started leaning, so I came up, gave it a little bit of a push. I don't know if you can see it kind of budging there, but it started to crack, so I hurried up and ran off, and we got to finally see what I had been waiting for all night.
It's cracking. There it goes, there it goes. Please. Oh, yes! Finally!
Now, I wanted to see just how far it fell close to that power line, because it seemed like it was going to be pretty close. Luckily, whenever I came to it and saw where the tip of the tree was, when I looked up and saw where the power line was, I was a good, 15 feet away from where the power line was. So, luckily, we were completely clear from the power lines, and it fell in just the right direction where it didn't hurt anything. So this is what the view looked like the next day. You can finally see some of the sunrise. Now, some of those trees I can't cut down because they're on my neighbor's property, but you can finally see across here, and you can see I've piled up a lot of that junk in the middle. And this is it a few days later, after the sun's dried it out, got everything cleared down to the ground, and it was ready to burn within the next couple of days. Well, it's been a couple of days, and now it's burning time. So as you can see, a lot of it's all completely dead and dried out. I made a separate pile over here with some other stuff and kind of raked everything towards the middle. That way it'll be nice to spread, and it won't spread over where I don't want it. Now, I don't have too much footage of the fire, unfortunately, because I expect it to be slow, and then I'd have time to set all the different fires, and then it would pick up. But by the time I had set the third little fire over here, everything was already completely engulfed in flames. Now, I also had to be on water duty to keep splashing water around the support just to make sure it didn't burn. But this is it after literally like 2 minutes. It had already completely burned that first small burn pile and was spreading over to the stump. That big burn pile was into massive flames. It was super hot to stand next to. This third pile hadn't quite caught on yet, but I was pretty happy with the way it was going. Now, this is it after literally 5 minutes. That whole side's already been burned. I'm running frantically trying to make sure that I'm there to take out any fires that spread further than they need to. But, man, this fire was beautiful. I wish I had time to sit and appreciate it. But I was waiting for it to kind of catch this stuff on fire. And I figured, this was probably going to take an hour or two. But really, in reality, it was probably about 20 minutes before everything that was dead was burned up. Now, some of the bigger sticks stayed smoldering for a long time. But this is it after 30 minutes. I went ahead and put some grass clippings on top that were drying out to hope that it would kind of catch some more. I'm wanting to burn everything up to these supports, like kind of where I'm standing around this stump. And then that way it'll just be a pile of ashes and I can dig it all up. But it was a beautiful fire. I wish I got more footage of it. I am sorry. But it left so much stuff because there was a lot of sticks that were still alive that it did give me a time to burn it a second time. So this is the second time I had it burned. I piled everything up into the middle. Again, I'm sorry I didn't have a close-up video. I piled it all up and it was just kind of like a little bit smoldering. So I didn't think it was going to catch on fire, and I was going to put some gasoline and shoot it with a tracer just to kind of have a nice, cool, like almost explosion-like fire. Sadly, when I went inside to load up my tracer rounds and to go get some gasoline, I look out the window and it already started burning. So obviously the embers were hot enough. This was like 4 days after I burnt the first pile. And so the embers were hot enough that it automatically ignited it. So this is what it looks like now. As you can see, everything's pretty much burnt down to the ground, or at least to the stump. So now it's time to dig it, and I don't have any footage, but this is what it looks like afterwards. And so there are a few spots that I want to dig up a little bit more on the left and right to give a deep spot, just in case, it's real hot and the fish need a cooler place to go, like by that stump. But the good thing about our dirt is it's pure clay. This stuff is rock hard, and
you don't need a pond liner whenever you're digging and stuff like this. The water will just naturally be able to hold in it. It's basically a giant clay pot. We won't be able to see in this video the pond filled up, but this is kind of what it looks like as of right now. The next step is to dig out a couple pockets that are deeper, and then once we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and add some structure for the fish, and then see if we can go fill it up a little bit and get some plants started up in it. Now real quick, I want to remind you guys, I am doing that fishing giveaway. So if you see this video, it'll be on my profile in a short. Go to the comment section on that. I'll also put it in the description. And drop a comment, a subscribe, and I'll be randomly picking one comment. That person will win this prize for free, and then I'll ship it to your door anywhere inside the United States. So don't forget about that, guys. Drop a comment on that video. Comments on this video are very welcome, but they won't count towards the giveaway. You have to go to that video. So the link will be in the description. So it's probably going to be a minute, but we're supposed to have a week of solid rain, so hopefully we'll be able to fill this thing up, and by this time next week, I'll have a nice, beautiful pond to show you. But as of right now, that's all I'm going to be able to show you because, you know, we're just waiting on nature to do her thing. Now, unlike my other pond, this pond's not going to have any predators in it. It's just going to be a bait pond. The only predator is going to be my baby gar. So I hope we won't have to deal with any alligators in it, and if there are any, we'll just relocate them to the back pond instead. That's all for this video, guys. I'm sorry I don't have a solid update of it, but just waiting on rain. As always, Jesus loves you, I love you, and have a great day.